Before I proceed further, please note this session is being recorded purely for academic purposes with no commercial agenda. The organizing committee has obtained the permission of the resource persons for the same. May I invite Dr. Gayatri Shirur, Associate Professor, Hashu Advani College of Special Education, to introduce us to the details of the conference and related RCI norms.
Thank you, Amita. A very, very good morning to all of you. Welcome to IIOC. I'm here to present the conference and RCI norms. The presentation is just a humble attempt by me to let all the participants, especially the group 1 participant, to know what rules we are supposed to follow during the conference. Obviously, by letting us know what we are supposed to follow, we will make everyone functioning smoother and make this conference a grand success. So to begin with, I start with the aspect of attendance. These all the norms are given by Rehabilitation Council of India, which we are expected to follow, especially the group 1 participants, that 100% attendance is expected on all the days. Our attendance volunteers will be monitoring your attendance throughout all the sessions. Since we are really blessed to have resource persons from all over the globe, please note that there is going to be a difference in the time zone. So, like the usual CRE, our all the sessions are not going to follow one after the other. The login time is going to be different. Please make a note of it. If you feel right and important, then do click a pic of this slide so you are aware that at what time you are supposed to log in. I also request the group in charge to click the pic and maybe circulate this in their respective groups. Group 1 participants are expected to know about the post-test and retest. To get the CRE points, all the participants will be assessed at the end of each session. Each test will consist of MCQs, and we are going to present 5 questions. Each will carry 2 marks, and these questions will be presented via Google form. The Google form will be posted in your WhatsApp group immediately after each session. You can submit the test before 9:30 p.m. on the same day. Please note, it's very important to understand the passing criteria. The passing criteria given by RCI for each test is 70%. So out of 5 questions, you must get at least 4 correct, which means that you have to score more than 8 marks to qualify in each test. In case we don't qualify, or for some reason we fail in the first attempt, then what do? Yes, you have a second chance. So there will be a retest. Only one retest as per RCI can be given. That also will be presented via Google form. Only those who score less than 8 marks are expected to attempt the retest. Please note that it is the responsibility of the participants, those who do not qualify, to attempt the retest. We as an organizing committee will not give any reminder or any notification individually to the participant to attempt the retest. There is a deadline for retest. Participants are expected to give the responses before 11:59 p.m. on the same day. So the link will be given, the link for the retest will be given to you at 9:30, and you are supposed to submit it by 11:59, only for those who do not qualify in the first test. Those who attend, give the attendance 100% and successfully qualify in all the tests will get 20 credit points by RCI. Participants will either get 20 points after qualifying in all the tests or nil points even if they fail in one test. This is also RCI rule. It is mandatory. A group photograph is needed by RCI. So our volunteers will instruct you to switch on your cameras for the group photographs. Please do the same whenever you are instructed. We have also created a feedback link. This link will be posted in your respective groups. We are really eager to know about your feedback. For group 1 candidates, it is compulsory, and for other candidates, we want to know how you felt about the conference. Do respond to all the feedback forms. After successfully completing all the criteria, the successful candidates will receive the certificate online from Haxay within next 15 working days. We are going to share all the PPTs, that is PPTs of all the sessions, in your WhatsApp group. You all are professionals, I need not tell you, but just a note of caution that before attempting the test, do go through the PPT, revise once, and then attempt the test. You will also have access to all the presentations done in this IIOC via our YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, Abhasi-of CCYM at HACSA. Thank you for patiently listening. If still you have any more doubts, please contact your group coordinators. We are always there at your service. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Gayatri ma'am, for that useful update. I request Ms. Shweta to share the promo slide with us.
Dear participants, as a value add to this conference, we have tied up with Unique Ability Consulting, an organization working in the field of specific learning disability since more than 7 years now. They work intensively towards creating awareness within various stakeholders. They also work intensively in researching in assistive technology, and many other things. Please feel free to take screenshots or pictures to save their information for future reference. Dear participants, please feel free to take screenshots or pictures of the contact information provided by Unique Ability Consulting for your future reference.
Thank you, Shweta. Moving on, may I invite Mrs. Sandhya Pagare, ma'am, librarian, Ashu Advani College of Special Education, for the tech orientation.
Thank you, Amita. Good morning, all. Myself, Sandhya Pagare. Now I'm going to share some text tips useful for conference. Internet speed. For better connectivity and speed, take at least plan of 20 Mbps. If you are going to attend through mobile, then have 4G connection with good network. Usually mobile data plans gives us approximately 2 GB or 4 GB or as per your choice. But please note, whatever data you get, it gets started from the 12 a.m. So late night use of internet may exhaust your data for that particular day. So save your data. Don't use it after 12 p.m. 12 a.m. as we have whole day sessions. In case of connectivity of network failure, use hotspot for accessing internet connection. If you face the problems of no audio, unclear audio, or screen or no video, you may have low bandwidth. In this case, the coordinator of the conference or the host of the meeting can't help you. So take care of it. To avoid the problems in case of electricity failure, charge your mobile in advance or your laptop and don't use it for other reason or any other work. If you have power bank or any other backup, please be ready with it. Attendance. The attendance will be taken by the attendance committee. Please note, the attendance is mandatory to all type 1 participants. So this specific instruction is only for the type 1 participants. All type 1 participants will rename themselves. They will add capital A in front of their name. Use the name which is mentioned on your RCI certificate as well as use for your registration. Please note, there will be no dash or any other symbol after capital A. You can see the example like A Anita Pawar and A Sanjay Pawar. There is no other symbol, dash or any other symbol. You can take a screenshot of this slide if you want. Zoom invite will be shared by the in charge of all registration committee on WhatsApp groups. You all will be muted by the host for communication. For communication purpose, use chat section. To save your data, keep your video off and also join with only one device. The host will log the meeting after 15 minutes. Hence, join the meeting on time. Zoom invite will have link, meeting ID and password. Follow the instructions very carefully and read WhatsApp messages regularly till 28 October. For any query, put message to your registration in charge or WhatsApp group admins. Thank you.
I will too.
Over to Amita.
Thank you, Sandhya ma'am, for the technical know-how. May I request Mrs. Nisha Kutty ma'am, Assistant Professor Hashu
Amita
Advani.
Shetty, sorry to talk, but we'll have to hold because from attendance committee, there are some issues. People are not renaming themselves. So I guess many of them may not know how to rename. They are renaming themselves in the chat box, which does not help. They have to rename in their device. And that is what the attendance committee wants. Otherwise, attendance will not be marked appropriately. So may I invite Dr. Kasturi Kulkarni to take over and just inform all the participants how to go about it. Dr. Kasturi Kulkarni?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just explain how to rename the device. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to all the participants. Hope you are able to see my screen PPT.
Yes, go on.
So today we will quickly see how to rename ourselves on Zoom because this is connected with our attendance. So while you are renaming yourself, I am sharing the photos. Okay, this is the step 1. You have to click on participants. Bottom of the screen, you can see 221 participants. Okay, click on that participants menu. Now it is 220. Hope you are able to see that participants 220. Click on that participants. Okay, this is the step 1. Step 2, what you are supposed to do, to the right side of your screen, you will be able to see all the names. Find your name in that list of participants. This is the second step. Very simple. Okay, आपका नाम वो लिस्ट में कहाँ है वो ढूंढिए. Go to your name. Third step is, when you take the cursor on your name, there will be 2 blue color windows that will be visible. Ask to unmute and second is more. So please click on more. This is the third step. When you click on more, fourth step is rename. ठीक है, तो इस प्रकार से आपको यहाँ पे rename करना है. Now what is the thing which you will not do? Okay, do not rename yourself in the chat box. Our attendance team is not at all looking at the chat box. So whatever information if you are renaming yourself in the chat box, it is not going to help you in getting attendance. Okay, so do not rename yourself in chat box. This is the first thing. Second is, do not provide us any other name. For example, name of a family member. ठीक है, या your nickname. Some people are writing KK. Okay, yeah, NK. This is not required here. Okay, or do not use initials. We can see some names of mobile handsets like Oppo, Apple. Okay, how can we give attendance to Oppo? Please write your name instead of your mobile device name. So these are instructions only for type 1 participants who are looking out for RCI points. I hope I am clear, and I request all the type 1 participants to please rename yourself in this way. Okay, so what are you going to write finally? Type your name which you have provided us on the registration form. Okay, so we will cross tally your name with the name which is on the registration form and your Zoom name, and you will get your attendance. It is simple. Attendance team is not going to look in the chat box. Thank you all. Enjoy the conference. Over to Amita Shetty. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Amita.
Thank you, Kasturi ma'am. May I request Mrs. Nisha Koti ma'am, Assistant Professor, Hashu Advani College of Special Education, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Amita. On this occasion, I would like to quote the motivational speaker, William Arthur's words when he had said, "God gave you 86,400 seconds today. Have you used one to say thank you. So on that note, let me utilize some moments to thank all the people involved in organizing this international conference. On behalf of CCYM's Harshu Advani College of Special Education, I would like to thank Chembur Colony Yuvak Mandal for their constant support, University of Mumbai for helping us gain knowledge about online sessions, Rehabilitation Council of India for giving us the permission to conduct this international conference with CRE status, and especially Mrs. Raksha Deshpande, Zonal Committee Head RCI, Zoom for their online platform, Dr. Subodh Shirur for helping us with the purchase of the Zoom platform, our expert international speakers who will be giving their valuable inputs about assessment and diagnostic practices in their respective countries. That is Dr. Joyita Chatterjee from Australia, Dr. Kannamma from Malaysia, Dr. Praveen from UAE, Dr. Stacy Spencer and Dr. Asha Asser from USA, Dr. Mona Gajre from India, Dr. Fong and Dr. Esther Lam from Singapore, Dr. Felicity Thompson from Germany, Dr. Radhika Chandrasekharan, who will be joining us from Canada, and Dr. Asmita Huddar from India. Also, we would like to thank the renowned experts from the field of special education, Ms. Masrat Khan, Dr. Apurva Banshikar, Ms. Inaz Ajani, Dr. Shamla Dalvi, Ms. Betty Abraham, Dr. Sushma Nagarkar, Ms. Manjushri Patil, Ms. Nishat Imam, and Ms. Anaga Afridi, who will be summing up the sessions and giving the vote of thanks to our resource persons. We over thank you to Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, Unique Ability Consultancy, and Aliyavar Jung National Institute of Speech and Hearing Handicap for booking the commercial slots in our conference. I'm grateful to Dr. Shakuntala Nigot, librarian from St. Teresa's Institute of Education, for helping us with creating the Google Forms for the post-tests. Ms. Yukti Gupta and Ms. Himali Gada, assistant professors from the Department of Special Education SNDT, for being in the panel of poster competition. All our friends and supporters who have helped us spread the word about the conference. A special thank you to our over-enthusiastic alumni and current students for volunteering in the conference. All you wonderful participants for abiding by the rules, and last but not the least, the We team of HackSafe for being a strong pillar of support. Sorry if I have missed anyone. Thank you all. I know it is like a big...
Nisha Kutti, I think you missed somebody. And
Yes.
let me remind you that. And I request all the teammates and volunteers to turn on their videos to have 3 cheers for Nisha Kutti, who is the conference coordinator. I request all to turn on their videos, please. And hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip hooray!
Hooray! Hip hip.
Hooray!
Nisha Kutti.
Hip hip hooray!
Thank you, Nisha Kutti. Thank you so much for coordinating.
Ma'am, it's like a big list of people, because for us it's like a big fat wedding which we have organized, and it took a lot of people's support, and of course our team who all were there for the smooth functioning of this conference. Thank you all. Over to you, Amita. I think Urvashi, you're supposed to share the slide.
Dear participants, projected here is one of the many services and activities of Harshu Advani College of Special Education for your awareness. Please take a picture if you find this useful. Thank you. Over to you, NK ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Urvashi. Dear participants, we'll be taking a short movement break of 15 minutes since all of us were here since some of us from 9, some of us from 9:15. So we will just take a little walk, a small walk, refresh ourselves and come back for our first session of the conference. So stay connected. Do not leave the meeting. You can switch off your camera and be on mute mode. So see you by, I suppose, 10:45, 10:50. Is that okay, ma'am?
No, I think, hold on, huh?
Before I proceed further, please note this session is being recorded purely for the purpose of academic learning with no commercial agenda. The organizing committee has obtained the permission of the resource persons for the same. I introduce myself. I'm Jasmine Shah, alumni of Huxley, currently working with NMT Academy as principal of the primary section. Welcome back to the International Interdisciplinary Online Conference organized by CCYM's Hashu Advani College of Special Education. We now move further to seek a little more information about Huxley, an esteemed institution that grooms and educates the minds of prospective special educators. May I now request our first year student, Ms. Himisha Mehta, to take us through the virtual tour of Huxley. Over to Ms. Himisha.
Hamisha, check your sound, please.
Just take a moment.
Yeah, no issues. Hamisha, if there's something wrong, we can go ahead.
It's coming.
a meaningful future. Contact us to know more. Do spread the word.
Dear participants, as a value add to this conference, we have tied up with Maharashtra Dyslexia Association that pioneers with its work in the field of SLD since the last 25 years. Request you to bring your attention to your screens as we share their info. Please feel free to take screenshots or scan the QR code provided. You can visit their website for more information.
Thank you, Ms. Shweta and Ms. Urvashi, for the wonderful piece of information shared here.
Yeah, just a minute, Jasmine. One more minute. Hold on. This is the second one.
Dear participants, please feel free to take screenshots of the information provided. You can also scan the QR code and visit their website for more information.
Thank you, Ms. Shweta and Ms. Urvashi, for the wonderful piece of information shared here. An organization to function smoothly and effectively needs an efficient leader who leads by example, just like our very own principal, Dr. Asmita Huddar ma'am. May I now invite Dr. Amit Mishar, Assistant Professor at Huxley, to please introduce Dr. Asmita ma'am.
Thank you, Jasmine Shah. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce today to our one of the resource person, that is our own Professor Asmita Huddar ma'am. She is principal at CCYM Chembur Colony Yuvak Mandals, Harshvardhani College of Special Education, aided college affiliated to University of Mumbai. Is active in the field of disability management and special education for more than 3 decades. Collaboration and empathy are her core values. Madam is the first Indian postdoc Fulbright scholar in education for the children with deafness. Madam is chairperson of Board of Studies in Special Education at University of Mumbai and is instrumental in establishing Center for Disability Studies and evolving disability policy for University of Mumbai. To more know about her research, ma'am, the 3 students have completed PhD under her guidance. Moreover, she has contributed in the development of several textbooks from many universities for diploma, bachelor's, and master's level. Research, inclusion, language assessment, curriculum development, and Indian Sign Language are Madam's key areas of professional interest. So much more to say, but I would wind up in this short intro. Now, thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome again, and over to Dr. Asmita Huddar, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I know, AM sir, you are very generous with your words. Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen here. And please let me know whether you can see it. And
yes, it has started screen sharing.
Yeah,
we can see, ma'am.
Okay. So,
but if we go to
turn off
F5,
my. Sorry, you were saying something, AM?
Yeah, ma'am, if we go for slide share mode, then it could have
Yeah,
been
I
better.
will. Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Yes, done.
Yeah, thank you so much and welcome everybody. Day 0, as we call it. I'm just keeping my video off because then I'll be able to concentrate more. And of course, connectivity will also be taken care of. So we have particularly planned this day 0 and session 0. In short, it is actually just an introduction about how do we really consume the conference content. And it is absolutely important for us, all of us, to understand why are we here and what is going to change from tomorrow onwards. So I'm not going to teach anything or preach anything here. In fact, let me say that it is not about you, it is about me. I'm just sharing how I consume conferences, workshops, and seminars. And, kind of would request you all to look into this aspect very carefully. We all are educators here, special educators, great educators here. And we need not be told, we understand it very well, that it's not about just teaching history, geography, and science. It is about facilitating the process where the children know what to do with the knowledge of history, geography, or science. So it's not about the content itself, but how well the students are consuming the content. We are more worried and bothered about that. Gone are the days where we thought that, teachers come and just teach and students learn. Now this new constructivism and new theories and practices in education, we are getting more alert about how do students consume their learning. So similarly, I think it is for us teachers to pay attention to this aspect, that it is not about just knowing about assessment and diagnostic practices in Australia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in India, but getting to the undercurrent of so what? How does that change my daily routine? How do I consume that information? What do I do with that information? So as I said, sit back and relax. It's not, like I said, I really don't want to advise or give you tips. It is all about we all reflecting on this topic, which I personally feel that at times it is neglected. We give information, but maybe we forget to tell or draw attention to the fact that what do we do with the information. So I thought that let's have a session to remind ourselves that let not this be just going to the bank and taking our money. So attending a conference and gathering information. Let's pay attention to how is it going to directly impact my day tomorrow. There could be many, many points, but I'm sure all of us will have some take-home points. And how are we going to convert those into action is what my question here is, what we are going to address here. So consuming conference content, why this session before the conference? Actually, I just said it, that it is converting knowledge into action and nobody else can do it for us. If I want my knowledge to get converted into action, it is up to me to decide about that, to plan about that, to make a note, to tell myself, to try it out, to reflect about it. So it is all of us do it individually at our own pace. To begin with, I would like to say there have been excellent conferences held in areas of disability management by several leading organizations. Even we've been holding it for last 2 decades now, more than that. With online virtual mode, conferences have, they are mushrooming like anything, which is good, which is really excellent because they open the doors for us to know many things. And we actually are in an age where we can select the conference during this, November, December, January, February. It is the harvest season for the conferences. So we can choose, what we want to attend, what we want to know more about. That's wonderful. But have these conferences visibly impacted the professional practices at micro level? That is the question now we better ask. Now it is the first phase of having conferences is almost over. Now we have to ask the difficult questions that are these conferences showing visible impact in the field itself? What the professionals do in terms of daily activities. We may not have a statistics available here. Those who are interested into research, I would request them to take it up to find out how conferences and workshops impact the daily professional activities of various professionals. But currently, what are our judgments? With the lack of statistical information which is not available, are we satisfied with the things that happen in the professional field of disability management? Do we think that so many conferences we all have been organizing, presenting, attending, discussing, taking certificates for it, has that adequately impacted the field in last, say, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is? So do we have scope for improvement? If you ask me, I feel yes. In my own professional activities I'm talking about, there's a lot of scope for improvement. Do conferences have anything to do with our daily professional activities is what we all need to address on our own. Like I said, I want to address this for myself. That what is going to change from Thursday onwards? 3 days we are going to, listen to so many experts. There was a team which was actively involved for a month, or rather 2 months. There was so much of man hours gone into this planning and coordination. After all this, suppose the conference gets over on Wednesday, Thursday. How does my Friday look like? How is it different than my pre-conference experiences? So as I said, it is all up to us to make a note of the new learnings. It is all up to us to bring about change in our own individual professional dealings. Again, I will draw your attention that when each of us will take these things seriously, take some take-home points, convert it into actions, only then the field will look different. It has to be bottom-up approach for all of us. Only then, from the above, one can see the change and somebody can, as I said, conduct a research on that. So it is kind of pre-conference deliberation includes the kind of reflection. It's time to reflect on how can we consume the content of this conference, making it relevant to what we do daily. So like I am the principal of a B.Ed college and I attended this conference. Listen to what the experts are saying. Now I know what happens in Singapore. Now I have summary of what happens in Australia. Now I know what happens in Malaysia. So what? How does it change my life or my professional life? What take-home points am I drawing? What notes am I making? So suppose if as petty as, down 3-4 years, I will arrange a session with my B.Ed trainees to see the YouTube content of this conference and we'll have a brainstorming session after that with the students. Even if I decide that much, it could look as petty as this, but it is an action rather than just information and knowledge. So I want all of you to reflect on what are you looking for and what are you going to do with the information that you collect here. What is your plan or what is my plan to make a note of things that I want to implement? There could be so many do's and don'ts we get to see during these 2 days, that something works, something doesn't work. Oh, is it? This is how they do it? It may not work or it may work here. Oh, okay, then I'll do that. So that kind of, there is a meter in our mind which keeps on reflecting. And I always tell this to my students also, that, there is always a question in your mind, so what? Not a rude question, so what? But just a question that leads all of us to convert information into action. Somebody is doing something in UAE. I heard about it and I liked it. So what? So what am I doing about it? At my own micro level, is there anything that I can do? So request you all to wholeheartedly be part of this conference, make your own notes and consume this conference rather than just being part of it. So yes, certificate will be there, attendance will be there, post-test will be there. There are so many things which are administrative parts of conference. So that is all well taken care of. Let's move on to the academic part of the conference. That how are we going to make use of this content, whatever we are going to learn during the next 2 days. So I take a 30 seconds pause here because I can't reflect when somebody else is talking or when obviously when I am talking. So I'm taking a 30 seconds pause here. I want all of us, including myself, to maybe close eyes and think about what exactly am I supposed to do to consume the content of this conference. I'm sure you must have thought of many, many things. We all are experienced and committed professionals. So there are so many that we have our own wish list, what I want to do if the ideal situation comes about. Here are my tips again to myself. You are just the audience here. Take it if you want or leave it, or you will have your own list, I'm sure. Sometimes I would like to see that. But here, just for the convenience, I'm sharing my list. That what do I tell myself that I want to consume this conference content well. So I want to be ready to challenge known data in our mind. So whatever I already know, if somebody is telling that it is not true, that is not the updated information, that is not how things are working now, or that is not how things are relevant, I want to be open to that point. I want to tell myself that 99%, I know what it is, but let me open the window by 1% saying, oh, okay, maybe that's right. Maybe I should try that. Or maybe that works, or maybe that doesn't work. So we'll have to revisit what we already know, discard, like this is the Diwali time, everybody's thinking about decluttering their homes, their phones and their cupboards and all. So same, I think, holds good with the knowledge and information. We need to declutter, we need to revisit, open the cupboards, and not stick to some of the things which may not be true now. So let's make a note of comparable academic points, because it is a cross-country conference. Obviously, we are going to know about the 7 countries and how assessment and diagnostic practices leading to certification take place. So there will be kind of academic comparison there. But again, I'm emphasizing the word academic comparison. So purely, every time let the meter be on in our mind. So what? So what am I going to do about it? How that changes me and my activities. Commit to ourselves about some modifications in own practices, language, and assumptions. When we used to have offline CREs, we often used to have a last session where each participants, that time it used to be 30 participants, where each participant reads out 1 or 2 points about the take-home points and the action points. That I feel is absolutely necessary for me, and it may work with everybody, is what I feel. That let's commit to ourselves some change, some small modification. It could be as petty as, okay, I liked somebody's PowerPoint presentation. Oh, I liked how she managed the time. Or I liked how he introduced himself. It could be as petty as that. But each point that we, note that we like or we don't like, that we find relevant or find not relevant, is going to strengthen us, enrich us. And again, as educators, I don't have to preach you anything about that. It is about just being specific. Often after conferences and lectures and sessions, there are so many people who come back to you, give feedback, and tell you that it was a wonderful session, good points and things like that. Excellent, because that's step 1. But then there has to be step 2, 3, 4, where we say, oh wow, you liked the session, so what are you going to do about it tomorrow? So wow, I liked a session, and what way I am going to consume it from tomorrow. So I request you all to keep your pads and pens with you. Keep writing down, because that is kind of reminding yourself. I don't know what learning style you have in terms of, are you a visual learner or kinesthetic learner? But with me, it helps that I keep on writing things down. I may not read that later on. I just keep it, but that writing, it reinforces my thinking. It makes my thinking specific, and it is a reminders to me. So work it out. I'm sure you all know what works well with you, your personality, your learning style, and what is your plan for bringing about changes in yourself. Obviously, we want bigger changes in our students and the beneficiaries and the stakeholders and the community and the country and the world. But we all know that it all begins with me. It all begins with myself. So I would request you to commit yourself to something big or small that you hold on and actually turn into action. Understand the links among screening to diagnosis to intervention and to education for all. This particularly participants need not be reminded or told about what is education for all, but it is all our global dream. And it is time we understand, we all understand it well, I know, but it is time for all of us to reflect that what is my role in this? There cannot be a global or national goal and the doers are not reflecting on that regularly. So now that in this conference, we are specifically talking about only assessment and diagnosis and certification. We are not going to talk about remedial teaching, coaching, strategies, inclusive classrooms, accommodations. And there are many more things that could have been discussed. But we are keeping it to specific things so that we can have our specific take-home points. And we can see, I can see my own link with the global dream education for all. Am I in tune with that global goal because I'm part of the globe? So somewhere, let us all reflect about it. And last 2 points about consuming the content is let's be curious to find out how others are dealing with the similar situations. And that is, in fact, a one-liner motivation of this conference. That, okay, in India, we have, with the changed scene now, learning disability being part of the legislative framework here, which is recent addition, we will have to work on so many templates and SOPs, standard operating procedures, to have the assessment, diagnosis, screening, certification, accommodations. So we all have to roll up now. We wanted learning disability to be part of this, and now it is a part of it. So this is the time to get into action, to find out that how well can we have our, right from suspecting disability to screening to diagnosis to, ultimately in not a very negative way, but in a positive way, labeling the child so that the child gets the benefit what are legally due. And hence we achieve education for all, appropriate, age appropriate, right-based, barrier-free, diversity-friendly education. So we all are curious. So just to satisfy that curiosity, we are going to kind of peep into the 7 nations and how things work there. We are going to see that. And of course, I am going to give my special tip to everybody to be mindful, and I'll talk about that in a while. So yes, here we are, interdisciplinary international online conference on assessment and diagnostic practices for specific learning disabilities of cross-country perspective. So it is about opening the windows and peeping into what others are doing. And obviously, the motive behind this is bringing about change in what I am doing today. If we all are on that same page, I think we all are good to go. It is just that at times I go into teaching mode, and that's very comforting mode. So let's be in learning mode as well. I want to do that myself for coming 2 days. So that was about being curious about what happens in other countries. So I am very curious. Suppose if I am the principal of a B.Ed college or a teacher of a B.Ed students, I really want to know what happens in other countries, how the courses are run, how the programs are run, what are the syllabi that they follow, what is the duration. In our country, it is 2 years. First semester cross disability. Does that happen in other countries? Are there any take-home points? So there are so many questions that come to my mind, and I want to know about other countries. And same with whatever you are doing currently as a professional activity, it will be great satisfactory experience for all of us to know what happens in the other countries. And now something about mindfulness. You may think, where has this come in a professional discourse? We're talking about a professional conference and academic interaction, and why this about mindfulness. But we professionals, fortunately or unfortunately, are human beings. So whatever is relevant for human beings is going to be relevant for us. And time and again, research has proved that those who practice mindfulness, they are delivering better in terms of personal and professional outputs. So just a reminder, again, I don't have to go into details. It is a very common concept. I'm sure you all know about it. I'm sure you all practice about it. I also try to practice it myself. Just a reminder to myself, maybe it will benefit to you as well. So here is a man who's looking at 4 trees and the sun. And what do you think goes on in his mind? Somebody who's looking at the 4 trees and the sun. And is he mindful? So what goes on is in his mind, if he is mindful, or is he full of many things in his mind? So obviously the one who sees 4 trees and the sun should see and think about the 4 trees and the sun. But this is simple thing theoretically is extremely difficult for all of us. There are so many things that keep on happening in our mind. There are so many windows open simultaneously. So many apps running in our mobiles, our mental mobile, that at times our efficiency is compromised. I can completely understand. There's a tap running, there's a medicine to be given to the senior citizen at home, some scolding to the kids around, some window needs to be shut, some phone call, some happy birthday message needs to be dropped now, something that I want to do tomorrow, some phone call pending. We all have all these things in our mind. And that's normal. And that's okay. That is how we plan. That is how we remember to wish somebody or turn the tap, which is running. But there have to be some moments, some sessions, some time where we concentrate mindfully. So as they say, we have to be where we are and we have to do what we are doing. So I request you, I'm sure these 8 hours, 9 hours and total 12 hours, whatever, may not be possible. It's not possible for me. I'm struggling to be there wholeheartedly. But at least some points we will give it a try. We all will give it a try. Maybe you will be more successful than I am. But at least let's commit ourselves that at some point, some session, some part, let me turn off all the windows in my mind. Let me not minimize, turn off the windows and be fully, many things are taken care of. I've done that. And then there is this an hour which I want to wholeheartedly be attending. And with online conferences, this is absolutely necessary to remind ourselves about it because there's no external monitoring for us. Not that we need it, absolutely not. But again, you know, if you are sitting in an offline conference and you want to suddenly remember something and you want to send a happy birthday message, you will hide your mobile and do it. There is some external pressure there. When in our own rooms, doors shut, or maybe we are doing some activity while attending this conference, there's nobody to monitor. To ensure that we are wholeheartedly here, part of this session. If there are 4 trees and the sun, I'll have to make myself sure that that's the only thing in my mind, 4 trees and the sun. So similarly, I'm going to give it a try. There are so many coordination issues, you know, there are messages and some emergencies and things like that. So, but between all this, among all this, I am going to fully be part of the sessions for the maximum time. So I draw my own take-home points. And same is the request to all of you that remind yourself that there has to be some time period where you are part of the conference wholeheartedly, immaterial of this attendance and certificate and so many other things going on in the mind. And that's my request to myself and to everybody. So let us be where we are, and that is the motto of mindfulness. And let us do what we are doing here and now. So that's just a reminder. And one of the things, one of the points that again how I consume conferences is write it down. If you wish to do that, now is the time to grab a pencil and a pad so that you don't miss anything. And obviously, youngsters and tech savvy people will keep taking snaps. Even that is a good idea. Only if you revisit your snaps and only if you sum it up for yourself. So, okay. So here again, I want you to reflect and note your action points. Again, I'm going to take a 30 seconds break, a pause, where we all write it down that how exactly I see my action points. Is there anything that I'm particularly looking for? And what is my plan to convert this conference content into action? Yeah, I'm sure you must have thought about something, some time to spend with yourself, having a quick plan ready for yourself. And here again, my points, not exhaustive list. Obviously, you will have your own points ready. So what is my plan, or what could be planned for anybody, would be paying attention to new concepts, new solutions, new ways and means. So let our meter in our mind be open and ready to grasp. There are so many professional points about which we struggle. So let's revisit that list and look for new concepts, new solutions, and ways and means, how others are doing. What does that mean? And how can I change, like I said in the next point, my role in the larger picture of this academic discussion. There's so much that you may find not relevant to me. Yeah, it was a good thing, but what do? I teach and I have hardly anything to do with assessment and diagnosis. I get students ready who have been diagnosed. But I'm sure in the deliberation of these 12 hours, if we pay attention, if we keep our windows of learning open, there will be so many points which can be highlighted as my role in the whole larger discussion. As I said, that meter in our mind about, so what? What do I do? What do I have to do with this in a very positive way? So modifications in my professional SOPs, I do some things in my own way, which are extremely good. And I'm sure we all are very successful about it. But yet there could be some points of improvement, something that we need to do more, something that we need to do differently. And here is the time where we get to know, get to see what others are doing and draw some conclusion for ourselves. Then I would also request you, that's one of my favorite areas, and I often talk about it, is the appropriate terminology used globally. Let your meter be on about the terminology used. There could be some consistencies and inconsistencies. There could be some new terms, some new operational definition of the terminology used. Oh, she means assessment this way. Oh, I thought it is this way. Yeah, because these terms that we often use may mean different things to different people. So let's pay a little more attention to the terminology used. I am going to do that for sure. That's my favorite area to review and reflect on the terms that people use when they mean something. Then let's look into presentation styles and technology. I'm sure we all will automatically see that, because that's the hardware of the conference. That will be more visible, and there could be some take-home points about those as well, about organization, about styles, talking, presentation and all. I am going to look for professional networking, which I notice among the professionals globally, how psychologists and counselors and special educators and doctors and case coordinators and social workers. I'm going to make a note of these collaborative areas because somewhere it is my professional judgment. You may not agree or say feel that is right, but that is one of the lacking areas among the collaborators here of the stakeholders. So I'm going to look for those. So similarly, I'm sure you have your own areas of interest and you will pay more attention to that. It's just a reminder to all of us that let's have that meter on in our mind. So it's all about conferences must lead to visible benefits to the stakeholders. Otherwise, conferences after conferences, we get our credit points for organizing, you get your credit points for attending, somebody gets credit points for volunteering. All good, all important, all professional, all justified. Yes, we all need it. But beyond that, something has to be converted into action. As I said, from day 4. So I always feel that we see friends we should never mute. They're there in our mind, quite strong. If you have disciplined them well and they don't want to say anything, that's a different story. But these 3 friends where somebody in our mind says, I don't understand, or I don't know. Somebody's asking something, but I don't know. Or somebody's saying something, but I don't agree. So if that happens in your mind, excellent. I'm sure it happens. It does happen in a 2-year or 3-year-old kid as well. It's just that let's set them free. Make notes of these things. They are good. Let's look at them as a positive facilitators of our learning. Like I said, somewhere it is difficult, but let's just part way with our role as a teacher. I'm trying it myself and get into the mode of learning. That is possible only where I have my opinions and my backup of information and knowledge, where I can say, at least to myself, that I don't understand, I don't agree, or I don't know something. And yes, now about the objectives of the conference, I often give this example that let's not ride the bus till we know where it is taking us. We never ride a bus without knowing whether that is going to this part or that part of the city. So we are spending 12 or 13 or 14 hours of our precious life for this conference. So we better be on the same page about what is going to happen and why that is going to happen. So we often take objectives rather casually. We look for theme, dates, availability, maybe the registration fees, and then look into the objectives of the conference. That's okay. But at the end, at least, let's visit and revisit objectives so we all are on the same page. These objectives have been shared with the resource persons, obviously, because again, you have come with some questions and it is like a commitment from the organizer's side that you will get at least some answers or maybe some more questions, if nothing else. But that will happen only when we all are on the same page. So one of the first objectives is to gain a consolidated understanding of assessment, diagnosis, and certification practices in 7 countries related to SLDs. Yes, we are going to stick to specific learning disabilities here. We will not talk directly about any other disability. There were so many messages and queries in the beginning. So let's make it very clear that we are going to be very specific about learning disability, not directly touching upon any other disabilities. And this is on the level of understanding that we will gain some understanding about these practices. Then obviously get an opportunity to review own challenges and practices and to be able to add value to what we are currently doing. As I have been saying, and I know many times I just repeat, so excuse me for that. But once again, that we need to pay attention to action points. So let's be ready with our list. We all are ready, I know, about our challenges and practices and the SOPs that we follow as professionals, so that we should be able to draw our own action points and be a part of an international community to explore further professional linkages and networking. And this is related to the solutions. So it is like very simple, you all know it, and I need not repeat, but it's a cliche to give the example of reinventing the wheels. Somebody's already, knows about how to make wheels, and I don't want to make it again. I can just simply look at him and or buy or borrow the wheel and get on to my work. So there are so many solutions around, and yet many a times we struggle alone. Or maybe try to work out some solutions and maybe do trial and error, which again are good learning aids, but not when solutions are all around. So I think such a conference which takes a thread of one concept ahead or one area ahead will help us look for solutions. And that is why once again I'm saying that we were so specific about concentrating on pre-diagnostic assessment and certification, so that the discourse doesn't get open-ended. You can't push things, many areas into one conference, and then it is difficult to get the solution and action points. So I hope we all are ready with our mind meters to understand, to note down our action points and to look for solutions. And if yes, then we all can ride this bus and our objective is fulfilled. Now, 2-3 points that I want to draw your attention is I have been sharing, we've been having a WhatsApp group of resource persons. We've had meetings and we've had communicative interactions with them, because as I said, it all should make sense ultimately. So it should not be bits and pieces. There has to be a thread in our understanding, in our solutions. So we have been interacting with the resource persons and requesting them to specify that they are going to make presentation about the whole country or a city or a province. So a just reminder to all of us that when somebody talks about the practices, let's just be very clear about whether that person is talking about the city or the province, state or the country. And this is absolutely important, because tomorrow when we say that I know what happens in Australia, I know how it is done there, let us just first see whether the presenter is talking about Australia or a state in Australia or a city in Australia. Because if that happens, then we will have to change our statement specifying that area. So let's not do overgeneralization here. And again, this is just a reminder to myself, and I'm sharing. I'm sure you all are very clear and careful about it. But it is a reminder to myself that I will pay attention and not overgeneralize when I take home some of the points. Okay, practices in each of the countries are very different, including the terminology. We really had tough time to arrive on the same page, because the resource persons kept asking, and obviously our expert team kept reflecting and operationalizing things, so that finally a holistic picture can be placed. So it is like there are different beads of different sizes, shapes and colors, and we need to thread them together to be able to interpret it better. So to make the presentation meaningful and applicable to all the participants, our expert team identified around 15 probe questions, because as we identified these resource persons and as they committed that yes, they are on the board with this, then there were a series of questions. Okay, do you mean this, or do you want this? Oh, okay, so is that this has to be included, or do we talk about it? So we came out with around 15 probe questions, which I'm quickly going to share with you, so that you know what the resource persons have been communicated. So you will see their presentations in the light of these probe questions. And obviously, nobody is committed to give complete answers of these 15 questions, obviously in the span of 70 minutes, but they have been given these as probe questions. So just general outline for their presentation. And here I share with you all those a quick visit to those 15 questions. And I'm just going to read it because there's nothing much to describe. Maybe I'll take a pause because I need a pause to process information. So how is the term SLD defined in the legal framework of the country? I requested everybody, our expert team requested all the resource persons to touch upon that. So again, I mean, that's something basic that we all need to know, that we operationalize the term that we often talk about. What are the steps and processes generally practiced in terms of disability special needs when these are suspected? Who generally reports the need for assessment? Is it a school or family? So again, what is a general trend there in their country or their province or city? They will specify that. What are the mass screening processes carried out to identify disabilities or special needs early? Are there, again, there could be some action points for many of us if we know some solutions related to this, that our work starts when somebody suspects and we are on hold till somebody suspects, till somebody refers the child to a professional, until the pre-diagnostic assessment is done. We are on hold till that time. How can we facilitate that process so that we get our students who anyways will come to us early? So what are the mass screening processes that take place in these countries? What kind of team and professionals are involved in the process of screening, suspecting and referring? And again, of course, assessing and then diagnosing the students. Who bears the costs involved in assessment, diagnosis and certification? Again, a very question that is close to all our hearts, because we often feel that there are inadequate resources and you feel, oh, that needs to be done. Oh, this needs to be done. Oh, okay, school screening needs to be done for all disabilities. And, you know, there need to be a checklist and there has to be training to the mainstream teachers about it. Blah, blah, blah. We all have our wish list ready. It's a long one. And everything boils down to, oh, but who's going to pay for it? So let's find out what happens in other countries. And of course, on a consolidated level, what happens in our country as well, about who bears the cost of the process. Then who is authorized to certify? Again, let's find out who ultimately signs and stamps on the document. And as we all know, certification is extremely important for the further journey of the child in a, again, very positive way. What are the kinds of linkages among schools, hospitals, clinics and centers, and maybe many more agencies in the process of diagnosis? Linkages, let's look for those, and we have requested resource persons to talk about that. Then a very important million-dollar question, that which tests and tools are used as pre-diagnostic assessment? Are these common across your country? Are these mandatory? Does the state gives you a list that these are the tests and tools which have to be used? So let's find out what other countries are doing about it. How consistent are these systems in various provinces, states and school districts? So I hope that resource persons talk about that as well. And I'm saying I hope because, as I said in the beginning, in 70 minutes, complete answers of all these 15 questions will be next to impossible. So that's impossible, next to possible, I mean. So these are kind of optional questions. Some of the resource persons will take ahead some of the questions, and some of the questions will not be answered in some of the sessions. But even in spite of that, I am hopeful and I'm sure that we all will get some points or the other for our actions, not only for learning. Are there online options for the families for assessment and diagnosis? Any points to be mentioned about transition from predominantly offline mode to online mode due to pandemic and lockdown? So the whole process of assessment and diagnosis and certification was in many countries offline earlier. How well have countries shifted to online processes have some doors open there with its own pros, cons, and challenges. What are the current challenges in the system of service delivery? Service delivery here again restricts itself to assessment, diagnosis, and certification. And what are the current trends in the system which these resource persons would like to share globally? How are challenges related to multilingual population addressed? Again, a big area which always has been there, but now more and more scholars and researchers are paying attention to this about multilingual benefits of being multilingual communities and challenges and concerns related to that. And then obviously we can't close the discussion till we talk about IEPs. Are IEPs formulated, and is this a legally mandated process? In some countries it is, and some countries it is prescribed process. In some countries it is not even prescribed, but practiced in some areas and not practiced in the other areas. So let's find out what these 7 countries, including ours, is doing in terms of IEPs. And obviously could have been maybe question number 1, but let's look into the incidence and prevalences of various countries if we get some updated information on that, which again I feel is extremely important to all of us. Then we also operationalize the terms, and that's why I'm all the time saying pre-diagnostic assessment, because as we all know, assessment is an ocean and it comes to,
sorry.
Time up, right?
Ma'am, sorry. Yeah. Ma'am, time up, as well as, sorry. 5 more minutes. But ma'am, just can you show 3rd, 4th, 5th question one more time?
Yes, I will.
3rd, 4th, 5th. Yeah.
I'll do that. Let me just go to the end and come back there. Yes, I will. And
yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
I forget. And oh yeah, if somebody's putting something in the chat box, sorry, I haven't been seeing that because
no, we are there, ma'am. Yeah, we are there.
Yeah, because I want to do what I'm doing, and that's talking. So we kind of operationalize these terms so that, you know, cross country, we will have some ready conclusions, and there shouldn't be confusion about what do you really mean by assessment. So this is what has been shared with the resource persons. So hopefully there will be a thread there. And then a line about why these 7 countries. There's no answer to that. It is simply a matter of convenience. It was like a snowball process that we set into motion through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp group, asking people that this is what we are planning. This is 3 months down the line when we started conceptualizing it. So there is request Ayushi Shah to turn off your video, please. Ayushi, please turn off your video. Okay, so thank you. So there isn't any plan about which countries. Of course, we wanted India, so that's where we reached first. But with other countries, it was like snowball thing. We kept on sending messages through LinkedIn and various social media thing that we're looking for somebody, and then got connected with so many experts. It was a wonderful journey, and then narrowed down the, okay, no, but we want to talk only about assessment and diagnosis this time. So, you know, if you are into remedial coaching, you are into inclusive setup and all, so we are going to hold that. We will have conferences on that. But currently, nothing about teaching and coaching and intervention and inclusion, everything about directly, of course, about assessment, diagnosis, and certification. So these are the 7 countries. Very, very thankful to the experts who took it up and worked on it for more than 2 months. And it's going to be wonderful for us to sit back and consume this ready-made information. Somebody's worked hard on that. Yes, and a line about what this conference is not. So let not our thinking go. There is a big no entry there. When your mind starts thinking about superficial comparison, oh, okay, country A, no, I knew it would be like that. Oh, okay, country B, what else do you expect? not that kind of a comparison. And again, I'm sure you don't want to do that. You don't intend to do that. It is a reminder to myself that I will restrict myself not to go there. Competition among countries, no ways. There cannot be a competition. Who else will know it better than the educators and special educators that there cannot be a competition with different zones. And then we also don't want to get into haves and have not debate where, we label some countries developed and we label some countries developing and things like that. Let's just go beyond that. I'm going to go beyond that and concentrate on whichever country, whichever expert, what are my points to concentrate and focus on is what we are going to commit to. And as I said, we can look at it as a larger chain of various conferences. My team obviously is going to say, oh my God, no, but down 5 years, 10 years, why not? There are specific areas which we are not touching upon. There could be conferences by anybody of you or anybody else that can be more specific about intervention and coaching or differential instructions, teaching learning material that have become so relevant now, something about curricular adaptations, inclusion, exemptions, about attitudes related to disabilities, this disability, other disabilities, and so on. So all these we are not covering it currently, and we will concentrate only on the first part of it, just to be able to give justification to what we do academically and professionally. I guess, yeah. So probe number, sir, did you say 1, 2, 3?
3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5.
Okay, here it is. So
Yes.
obviously I don't have the answers, and the questions are set now, and then tomorrow onwards we'll try to get our answers. So question number 3 is, what are the mass screening processes carried out to identify disabilities and special needs early in these 7 countries? What kind of team and professionals are involved in the process of assessment and diagnosis? Who all are on board? What are the equations about these professionals? How do they collaborate and coordinate? As I said, there could be some solutions that we look for. Then who bears the costs involved in assessment and diagnosis and certification? This slide is on SlideShare already. It will be shared with you. And type 1 participants will be answering MCQ post-test on this. So yeah, so I guess I need to wind up now. Thank you very much for opening your windows, and I'm trying to open mine. And yeah, so I stop sharing the screen, and if there are any
Yes, ma'am, there are questions.
discussion points, and please see the time limit, whoever is managing that. And yeah, let me focus on the question and answer.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Asmita Hudar, ma'am, for sharing a consume the conference. To me, it was a mind opener. It helped me be more alert for not only gathering information, but also being able to make use of the information that would be shared during the conference. We have a few questions. I request Dr. Amit Misal, sir, to please take forward the questions. And ma'am, would you please answer the questions?
Yeah, this session was about questions, so I'm not too sure about answers, but yes, please go on. Let's have discussion.
How can, ma'am, first question is, how can we plan an IEP for SLD?
Okay, as I said, and I just saw the chat box questions as well. There are questions about accommodations and IEP and all. As I just said, we need to get very, very specific to be able to draw specific conclusions and action points. So I'm so sorry, there will be forthcoming conference from our side, from somebody's side about accommodations as well as IEPs. But that's not the focus. And obviously, I'm not the expert on that, so will reserve my opinions on that. So sorry, but then some other conference will address that issue. Yeah, next question, AM sir.
Next was on accommodation itself, ma'am. So I feel so that we will not take. But one more question I just want to ask from my side, that how would you spoke about professional SOPs. How can we modify? So can you elaborate on that, ma'am?
Yeah. Thank you so much, AM sir, for talking about it. And I'm sure this is our post-NAC reflection that is talking here. Standard operating procedures is the set of steps that are clearly spelled out either in our mind or in our notebook or diary, or the organization provides you with. So what comes after what, and what are do's and don'ts for each step. So basically the meaning of the SOP is consistency, and system being more system dependent rather than individual dependent. So like, for example, in my clinic or in my school or in my college, I have some activity that I do again and again frequently, daily, weekly, monthly. How can I reflect on that? How can I improve that? And how can I have the system on auto mode? Suppose if I am not there, yet the system will run because there is an SOP, standard operating procedure. Everybody is aware of it. Everybody revisits it. So like there are organizational SOPs, we all can have our own SOPs. Like, I'm sorry for giving all the time my examples, but that is what comes to my mind. Suppose if somebody approaches me for taking admission into B.Ed program, I do that often. You know, there are so many phone calls, and then I talk and I discuss. If I'm doing that 100 times a year, I better have a reflection on that, come to some conclusion that how I can summarize it, how I can do that simple activity in a better way, and how I can provide right information to whoever calls me. So I'm using my professional judgment to improve my own activity that I just do again and again. So SOP basically means revisiting what we do frequently, bringing about consistency in that. And obviously, why do we want consistency? For improvement. And at national level, organizational level can happen at micro level, at my own level. So, you know, I can give you this example, and we at Harshvardhani College of Special Education, everybody knows this well. When some guests or visitors or participants, whoever is coming to our college, we have a standard way of telling them how to reach our college. We have a standard lines written about that. And in our area, there are, you know, so many Harshvardhani College, Harshvardhani Garden, Harshvardhani Road, Harshvardhani Campus, Harshvardhani, whatnot. So every time we add a line that do not ask for Harshvardhani College, ask for our building's name. So this is what I'm trying to say, is it is as petty as telling my organization's address to somebody. But don't I do that all the time? So isn't it up to me to better it and have a standard procedure, knowing that what works and what doesn't work? So yeah, so that is all about SOP. Otherwise, I'll go on and on forward.
Yeah, there are two more questions I feel we can take if possible. Is assessment we do in India same as other countries? I feel this would be answered in 2 days, right? Is assessment we do in India same as other countries?
Sorry, can you repeat? Is
assessment we do in India same as other countries?
Yeah, that's what we find. Yeah. And what about assessment? I mean, what, where, why, how, who pays, and what are the steps? There could be many sub-questions to that. And as I said, yeah, this session is not about answers. This session is about questions that we ask ourselves, and be ready. You know, tempted to give you one example, one quote here, that you will get the answers only when you have your questions right. So let's all be ready with our specific questions, and only then we will get specific answers. Yeah.
Yeah, and one more, I feel this can be a last question.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Are there any other opportunities for connecting the professionals from other institutions who are coming for next 2 days? Like, do we have breakout room, or we are restricted to speakers only who are disseminating information?
Yeah, I am so sorry, but we are not going to have breakout rooms and simultaneous sessions here. All are going to be kind of keynote addresses where we all are together. Yes, there is going to be question and answer session. We have kept around 10 to 15 minutes for that. Let's not repeat the questions. I request everybody, let's not be lengthy with our questions, and let's not be generic with our questions, so the discussion can be academic. And another thing, yes, I will take the approval from the resource persons to share their details. We do have their email IDs and mobile numbers, but I need to quickly ask them, and if all of them allow, which I'm sure they will, so I will share that. You can connect with them on professional level, and again, being very specific when you connect to them. Yeah, that's it then.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering the questions of the participants, which are very important.
Sorry, sir. But just one, somebody is asking that, are the international assessments valid for Indian children? No, okay, we are not talking about one country assessing students from all the countries. We are talking about each country assessing their own children, and we are going to kind of academically compare it and draw our own conclusions. Yeah, okay. Now I really.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your presentation and the way you answer really made us to brainstorm what all we have to do for the 2 days, and the questions which they have come to the mind they have asked you. Thank you so much for answering the question and answers of the participants. Thank you, ma'am. Over to Jasmine Shah.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Ms. Masarat Khan, CEO of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, to sum up Dr. Asmita Hudar's session and also propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon to all of you. A really good session. And I've been asked to sum up and give a vote of thanks. However, I would like to do it the other way around. So thank you so much, Dr. Asmita, and your dedicated team at Harshu Advani College of Special Education for conceiving and bringing to fruition an international interdisciplinary online conference, assessment and diagnostic practices for specific learning disabilities across country perspective. As Dr. Asmita said, we need to keep our windows to learning open. We need to be mindful and practice mindfulness for the benefit of all, including ourselves. I love her 3 friends. I don't understand, I don't know, and I don't agree, as they will lead to more knowledge and understanding. Learning is a lifelong process, and the day we say, I know it all, it will be the end of our journey in our practicing field. The following 3 objectives of the conference are really well thought of. To gain a consolidated understanding of assessment, diagnostic certification practices in 7 countries, including India, of course, related to SLD, to get an opportunity to review one's challenges and practices, to be able to add value to what we are currently doing, and to be a part of an international community to explore further professional linkages and networking, which I think is very, very important and need of the hour. Especially now, you know, I see this as a silver lining of the pandemic. There are always the ups and downs, and I always prefer to look at the ups. The pandemic has really brought the world closer and closer. And I mean, you know, you have it all in a go. So yes, this is something which is very much doable. And of the 15 probe questions. Hats off to the team for coming up with them. So I'm not going to list all, but I'm going to talk about, what I'm definitely looking forward to being discussed. So definitely, and this is always, been a very, very crucial question and a thought for discussion. The term SLD or equivalent defined in the legal framework, especially of our country, India. We have seen that the different countries have their own definition of SLD or their own definition of dyslexia, but as of now, we don't have. So yes, so this is something we need to work towards. Then how are challenges related to multilingual population address? Definitely, because India is a multilingual, multicultural, and all multi. So this is something we need to address. And it's compared to other countries, it's the most challenging when it comes to India. Yes, the team and the professionals involved in the process, who is authorized to certify. So the team of professionals who bears the cost involved in assessment, diagnostic, certification. In India, it's always the parents, but we would love to hear it from other countries. And of course, status of assessment and diagnosis during the pandemic, very crucial, because we have seen that it has almost come to for a year it had come to a halt. Some of the certifying hospitals have begun their services, but they're not able to cater to all for various reasons we all know. So yes, this is something we would, I personally would love to know and hear from others, how from the and even people from India, if they are doing any assessments, of course. And yes, I'm looking forward to an exciting and enriching 2 days ahead. Cheers to all, the Dr. Hudar, your team, and to all the participants over here, because I'm sure they all are here for the same purpose that you have conceived the conference. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's the team. I am just here on the stage, but it is the team.
Yes, yes.
Masarrat Khan.
Team is everything. No team, nothing happens. Yeah, totally agree.
Thank you, Ms. Masarrat Khan, for proposing the vote of thanks and summing up the session in few words. It was really helpful for us. Participants, kindly note that the recording of the session stops here.